You're watching the Isaiah Factor Uncensored.
And welcome back to the second half of The Factor Uncensored. Tonight, we're talking about the illness you can't see, depression. Naomi Judd suffered from it. The country music icon ended her life by shooting herself after battling with it for years. My next guest has an important reminder for you and everyone in your life. A smiling face can also mask some dark struggles.
So, Dr. Boone, there are many people out there that we see as individuals who totally have their lives together, but then it falls apart, it crumbles. And we've seen that with former Miss USA, Chelsea Christ. And also just recently, we're learning that Naomi Judd actually took her own life by shooting herself in the head. And so it is May, Mental Health Awareness Month, for those who may be struggling, but with a smile on their face. What would you tell those individuals out there?
You know, I should start by first saying depression and those who suffer with depression, clinical depression, they are some of the best at keeping that smile on their face and hiding what's going on behind the scenes. With depression and these anxiety, these mental illnesses, it's so hard to describe to someone who's never experienced it, because we think of depression as like, oh, I've been really sad. I've been really even devastated before. You just get through it, but it's so much heavier. And so to those who experience depression and they struggle with it, what I would say to them is you're not alone. But it's if I were to explain it, we've all had the flu or even COVID or some type of virus. And, we may be successful in our fields and successful in our relationships, but when that flu hits, we're out, we're down, we have symptoms, we have body aches and we have chills, and there's no getting around it, right? But when we have that flu, it has to run its course and then we're back on our feet, even if we don't treat it. With depression, no matter how successful, how beautiful, how great your relationships are, when it hits, you're down, and it has symptoms. And those symptoms are lack of enjoyment in the things I used to do, inability to just get up and clean myself, fatigue, extreme sadness, negativity, right? And so the difference is it doesn't always run its course and you lift back up. It can spiral deeper, deeper, deeper. To so many times I've heard clients who have depression say, at this point, I'm struggling to stay alive. It's easier for me to just check out at this point because they've spiraled so deep at that point. So it's really hard concept to understand, but you're not alone and you can't just hide it away with a smile. You have to get help. You have to.
And one of the things you said was it's temporary. And you've heard the phrase that suicide is a long-term permanent solution to something that could be temporary if you get the help that you need. So how do you talk to someone who may be in your family or someone who may be a friend or a coworker, and you see all of those signs, but they're not listening? So is there anything you can do if they're not listening to you?
Well, just like any other situation, you can only go as far as you can go. You can't make them get the help or make them do anything that they're not willing to do. And I should add correction. It can be temporary for some cases of depression. For some, it's long-standing. You can do your best to get help, even if you have to be extra proactive and even cross some boundaries and call a therapist on your own. I had someone call on behalf of their brother just yesterday. But at the end of the day, if that person says, nope, I don't want to, unfortunately, there's not much you can do. But if they're open, if they trust you and they want to change, get that help. Call an expert, call a therapist. If it's suicidality, call an emergency facility. Get them bedded, get them in the hospital as soon as possible, because with depression, it can get deeper and deeper and darker until, unfortunately, we have these cases where people just end their lives.
Such a tragic situation. For those who need help, there are plenty of hotlines out there, and reach out to your family members, friends, members of your church until you're able to get to that professional like you, Dr. Boone, because many people try to avoid that because of the stigma in many minority communities, but the help is out there. And we want to thank you for joining us here on The Factor Uncensored. For those who would like to get into contact with you, how can they find you?
Yes, you could go to my website, justyou.therapy.com, justyou, therapy.com.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Boone. Always good to see you here on The Factor Uncensored.
Thank you.